everybody, this is Chloe Hudson with World Peace Projects. Thank you for joining me. I will be out of town from April 30 to May 22nd, so if you would like to have a personal healing or channeling before that time, please let me know. During the first 3 weeks of May, I will not be accepting new healings or sessions, though I will be posting videos and sending out the e-newsletter. So thank you guys so much for receiving that information. So today I want to talk about heightening your intuition, understanding the subtle nuances of how to do this. And the example I want to use today is understanding the energetics of when somebody imposes into your energy space, or if you impose into theirs, how to notice that and how to manage it, whether you want to block it, whether you want to just maybe put up another boundary, or maybe you want to keep from doing it to others. So the best example I have of this is when you turn around subconsciously and you notice that what you've turned around to look at is somebody looking at you. So that's a very clear example of how your body, your energy, your psyche felt them press their energy into your field. You were not conscious of this, so you turned towards the energy that was coming at you, and once you registered that somebody's looking at you, then you became conscious that their energetics were in your field. Though if you get sensitive to learn what it is before you even see it, you can start to heighten your intuition in these types of ways. And that's a very clear example, in my opinion, because we've all experienced that, and we still do all the time. So understanding that how subtle the nuances can be, like that example of you don't know why you're turning, you just turn on impulse and then you see somebody's there, but obviously some part of you felt that there was energy coming into your space. Now usually one explanation for the reason you actually felt that is because the average person does what's called hard gazing when they look at somebody or something. They don't consciously necessarily do this, but when most of us tend to look at somebody or the object of our view, we project our energy outside of our auric sphere, because we look so hard that we kind of project out of our energy field, and then somebody can feel it because we've imposed our energy into their energetic space, and that's usually very noticeable to anybody. So on average, if you manage your auric sphere, as we all know, it's the electromagnetic field around your body. I tend to tell clients to hold it about 3 feet around your body. People with very big personalities tend to have their aura way out, and people that maybe are a little bit more introverted and private have their aura hugging their body. So in regard to this video, the reason that you want to gauge where your auric sphere is, and you just do it with intent, right? You just basically say to yourself, I want to bring my auric sphere in about 3 feet around my body, or whatever's comfortable for you. You ground your energy down like we've done before into the belly of Gaia, into Earth, and then you ground your energy up into the galactic central sun. So now you're centered and present, and you can be in the now moment and present only when you're in your energetic field. If your auric sphere is way big and out wide, anybody who walks in, or anything or any energies that come within the vicinity of your auric sphere, you're going to feel it, and their energetics are going to affect your energetics and vice versa. So if you pull your energy in really tight, they don't have the ability, unless they're going to what I call press you or penetrate your energy, to get into your space, into your field. Hence the reason on default many private people have a very tight aura, because they don't want people imposing into them, whether that be just verbal communication or even any kind of emotional energetic contact. So if you're like me and you have your auric sphere on average about 3 feet around your space, and somebody looks at you with a hard gaze, unbeknownst to them, but they have probably, it's not really bilocating, but it's kind of shooting their energy out of their field and into your field, just like light beams would do. And you feel that because now it's touched your energy field, or maybe it's come into your energy field, and so you turn and look. Now, it's not that it's disrespectful, but there's a unspoken boundary with energetics. Cultures are very different. Many of you who have traveled to maybe Asia or India know that because there's such a high density population of people, it's a cultural norm to be in other people's space, to rub shoulders, to lean on them. So they've gotten used to that energetic imposition. Though for the most part, at least in my experience, in the USA, we have a much larger kind of space of energy. You know, our personal space is about 3 feet. That's why I hold my aura there. And when somebody comes within that 3 feet, if I don't want to be that intimate with that person, if they're not a dear friend or a family member or somebody that temporarily is allowed that close to me, I get uncomfortable, and probably by default, subconsciously, I'll take a step back, or maybe even consciously I do that. Somebody comes into my space, it instantly makes me feel uncomfortable because now their energy is in mine, so I create space. This is also happening energetically. So when you look at somebody with a hard gaze, you're imposing, you're pressing their energy, your energy into their field. That is uncomfortable. At the very least, it's noticeable, okay? So the first practice that I would like to offer you, if you would like to become savvy that you may be doing this in your life, as most people are, and you would like to control it, command it, is start practicing what's called a soft gaze. And a good way to do this is be out in nature. And as we all know, animals are very sensitive to energetics. They definitely don't let humans, if they're not fully domesticated, get too close to them. So if you want to practice this, get as close as possible to an animal that's out in nature without them stirring, but they're aware of you. And then start to do what's called a soft gaze. So it's like if you were to kind of blink and be sleepy-eyed, you know, and you're not really staring at somebody, but you're just kind of looking, but you're very aware of being in your body. This is the difference, is when I'm doing a soft gaze, I can see myself looking out through my eye sockets. I can literally feel the back of my head from the inside of my head while I'm looking. So I'm still present in my body as I'm peering out of my eyes. But when I do a hard gaze, kind of involuntarily, my head goes forward, my energy shoots out of my body, and in a way I'm kind of in the scene or in the person that I'm looking at. So do this with an animal. Try a soft gaze and look at them. And then, because you're as close as you can be before scaring them away, do a hard gaze and see how it makes them uncomfortable most of the time. They may fly off if it's a bird, or they may move, or they may notice you, because you took up that last amount of their personal energetic space just by energetically imposing into their comfort zone. So this is also good to start to understand in regard to building your intuition and your heightened sensory perceptions. It's very subtle things like this. That's why in a lot of ways, I've said in the past, it's really important to trust, because before you refine your palate, so to speak, you have to have trust and faith that you're on your way, because it's very little things that you might not notice from the get-go. You know, I'm going to compare it to when you're a child and you're learning how to write and you're trying to, write your ABCs, and it's all weird and scribbly and you don't have your motor skills down yet. And then the difference between maybe somebody who practices calligraphy, using that beautiful fine-tipped pen with the ink and writing these beautiful, different designs and cursives. That vast gaping difference, they're both writing, correct? Though there's a huge difference in the refinement of calligraphy to somebody who's just learning how to scribble out an A. That's the same with your intuitive body. So you have to refine it, you have to build those skills, and to do that, you have to start noticing the very subtle things that are all around you. And a lot of these things you already are aware of, though maybe you just haven't had conscious thought towards them. Hence the example of when you turn to look at somebody and they're looking at you. We've all experienced that. We register, we turned because of them, but have you looked even further into that of why you turned? Well, the invisible story in that is that they're pressing your energy. Okay, so a couple notes on energetics now that we've started talking about space. So when you're inside your auric sphere, that is the only time that you have the ability to be fully present moment. Times that we project out of our auric sphere, when we get very excited, maybe we kind of jump our energy out at whatever we're excited about or the person we're around. Whenever we get overly emotional, sometimes we lose our cool and our calm and we jump out of our present moment because now we're so consumed in what we're upset about, which is not the now, because it's already happened. So you have to energetically at least go somewhere to even process that. We do this a lot with people that are intimate in our lives, or if we don't have a lot of confidence as an individual, we open our aura. And people can also tether to our aura. We can have cuts or slices on our aura where we're leaking energy. I don't know if you've ever heard of the term energetic vampire, energy sucker. If you were to see that energetically, we've all met that type of person. As a female, I'm going to explain it as the really lewd guy at the bar walking down the street that just stares at you like he's like peeling you from the inside out. It's extremely invasive, right? That's an energy vampire. Or maybe somebody who's just really in your space and they press you, they press you, they press you. They're being an energy vampire maybe without even knowing it. But their energy is knocking on your energy, or sometimes they're shooting energetic darts and they literally can put hooks into your energy field if you look at it energetically, or they might slice your energy or hook cords, whatever it is. All of these things affect us. So use your tools. First, make sure you're in your body. Command your auric sphere back in about 3 feet around you. Anchor your cords up. And then call in the violet flame of transmutation gifted to us by Saint Germain and Archangel Metatron. Blast this beautiful big violet flame all through your body, down your grounding cord, out inside of you, as big as you want. Utilize the solar ring if you want. The electronic ring that comes down from the galactic central sun fills like a ring of energy, of electricity down the inside of your grounding cord, filling your vessel, your body, down your grounding cord into Earth Mother. This is gifted by Archangel Michael. And then push their energy out of yours. So stay in your bubble while you do this. And we do all of this through intention, okay? So you've commanded your space, you've built your energetics. Now literally, if you were to imagine with the power of your mind or your intention, you're literally thrusting their energy back out of your space. You're creating a big wall. It's important to do this. And a tool that I'm going to give you right now that a lot of people learn in Clairvoyant 101 when they start going to psychic kindergarten, basically. But there's a disclaimer to this tool, okay? I'm going to give you two. So one is called the Rose of Separation, and one is called the Rose of Detachment. When you use the Rose of Separation, please be aware that this is a temporary tool that you want to get rid of once you're done with it, okay? So what this is in clairvoyant school, they often teach you to use a rose in many different ways because it has a very pure, neutral, loving, benevolent energy. So when you start to learn how to clean your auric sphere, they tell you to take a rose and use your rose like it's a sponge or a scrubby and go in there and clean out the spaces or energy gook or whatever it is. So use a rose of separation, and you create it with intent. And I see it as a violet flaming rose of separation. And if somebody comes into my space, whether that be them just gazing at me or they're pressing me or I don't want them around or I don't want to interact with them, but I see that coming by chance, I put up a rose of separation in front of me and between me and them and between our energy. And maybe I make it a huge rose of separation. Maybe if I feel like it's a dangerous situation, I put up a huge rose bush wall of separation. And they feel that energetically. It can be very potent, to tell you the truth. And that's exactly its job, is to separate, to keep them, their energies from noticing yours or coming in contact with yours. And it often works very well. Though please be clear that that's what it's meant to do. And you're only intending it in this moment for that person in that situation. So if you forget that you've been putting up roses of separation all day long, and you forget to, what I do is blow them up with the violet flame or take them down or however you want to do it, because our intuition is a big part of imagination. So whatever works for you, get rid of your roses of separation once you're done with them, because you do not want to create a wall of separation in general in your life with all the people around you. Okay? And I have a great example of this, because when I was taught roses of separation by my clairvoyant teacher, and it happened on default, she was talking about people projecting into her energy and how it was uncomfortable. And I'd never heard this before, and I said, do I ever project into your energy? And she was like, well, yeah. And I was horrified. And I thought about, oh my God, she is my mentor. I think about her all the time. I'm so excited to learn from her. I'm probably superimposing my energy into her. And she taught me these tools, and I was so overly careful after I learned them to not project my energy and to keep people out that I was putting up roses of separation nonstop all day. Well, I used to go and get energy readings once a week. So I go in after I've learned my roses of separation and I get a reading, and the person that's reading me says, man, you've got tons of roses of separation around you. People must be avoiding you left and right. And I didn't know at that time that you have to get rid of them. You can't just put them up. They don't necessarily go away. And they're not just for that one person, unless you're really specific in your intention and you put up that rose of separation in the name of whatever you're putting it up for. But even when you do that, you want to take it down, because you don't always want to be separate from that person. Maybe you just got in an argument. That person, you love them, but right now they're annoying you and you don't want them in your space. So once you're done with your roses, blow them up, get rid of them, whatever it is. Now, the second tool I'm going to give you is same thing, but it's rose of detachment. So the difference here is, when I'm giving healings, I'm very careful to ensure that my energetics stays neutral and detached from my client's energetics and vice versa. I don't want to separate or block our energies, so I would never use a rose of separation in a healing, but I often use roses of detachment, especially if they're telling me a story or something that I can associate with, and it's getting me lit up is what I call it, which means it's triggering me, and I see myself getting upset, and maybe I'm about to pass a judgment on the story because I've had that experience too, or whatever it is. I put up a rose of detachment, just like a rose of separation, but it doesn't fully block your energy. It just detaches you from whatever's coming forth so that you can stay grounded and present and observe and neutral. But you still want to get rid of these, because roses of detachment can create an air of very aloof, detached, blasé energy around you. Okay, so these are great tools for you guys to utilize, and please practice. Remember to use that soft gaze technique and learn the difference. And a really neat way to do it is when you're hard gazing, you're most likely not feeling your body anymore. You're outside of your head. When you're soft gazing, you can feel your body, you can feel your hands, you can even notice the difference that you can see yourself looking out of your eye sockets as opposed to, staring at somebody. And this is a really good way to learn how to command your energy or notice when people are imposing their energy onto you. So all of these little fine-tuned, honed skills are what start to build your resume of intuition and higher perceptive senses. Okay? So thanks so much for receiving this, guys. I hope you have a lovely day. Take care.